When I was younger, I would rewatch One Piece from episode 1 every single summer. Not continue from where I was. If I was at episode 542 the previous year, I wouldn't go to 543. I would start over from episode 1 at the start of my summer vacation. And I would watch it from morning till night. The moment my eyes opened in bed, I would take out my phone, I would start watching. If I was in the toilet, if I was at the dining table with my family eating a meal, I would have my phone there. And I would do it all day, literally 16 hours, until I would be watching it in bed and my eyes would shut as I was watching the show. I was truly addicted to watching anime. Now I look at today, and I woke up in Bangkok, Thailand. I have an online business that's affording me the ability to travel around the world. It's affording me the ability to choose what work tasks that I'm working on. I run the marketing for the biggest legal psilocybin retreat on the planet, actually helping people with their trauma, with deep woven issues through these retreat experiences. I'm building an app that truly is going to help so many people, and it is such a massive challenge for me. I feel like I've found my purpose, and I'm only 23 years old, and I'm so grateful that just a year and a half out of college, I'm experiencing life the way that I'm experiencing it. And looking back at this journey, there's so many different parts. I can't go over everything in this video, but when I look back, it wasn't just anime addiction that was really my low points there. I was watching a ton of anime for sure, but as I got into high school, I had a really, really tough time. And I experienced a lot of social anxiety and a lot of anxiety about not living the life that I wanted to live. And I know I was really young, but I've had the dream of having an online business and making YouTube videos since I was 5 years old. And it's always been in the back of my head. And so that anxiety of not living up to that potential, along with going into high school and feeling awkward and all of these different things coming together, it made me binge eat. And so I wasn't just binge watching anime, but I was binge eating food at the same time, sometimes 7 to 10,000 calories in a single day. This led me to gain over 80 pounds as I was getting into high school. I went from being a skinny kid who was 6 feet tall coming into high school, all this potential and people like being like, whoa, like he's going to do these crazy things, to literally being obese and having the thickest neck, having these tires on his stomach. And for me, I felt terrible. I felt so anxious about it. I would look in the mirror and I would feel so disappointed in myself. Disappointed that I didn't achieve any of my online business dreams. Disappointed that I was looking the way that I was looking. I remember specifically being in the bathroom, looking in the mirror, and for me, like on my on my titty, like I would have this extra bit of fat on the side that like made it look like I almost had 2 on one side, right? It would be like an extra indent because that's how much fat was in that area. And I remember that pissing me off and making me so upset at myself, so mad at myself. Because I knew that I was capable of more. I knew that inside of me, I could achieve these goals. There wasn't a point where I thought, no, this is impossible. You're not going to do this. But I knew I could, which made it even harder, which made the hatred towards myself even worse. And this kept going. I kept eating. I kept watching these shows. It wasn't just anime. It turned into YouTube, like David Dobrik vlogs. I'd be watching those all days, Vanos gaming videos. Watching content, eating food. Weed got introduced during this time too. And so everything just started coming together. And my hatred of myself got worse and worse. And it got to this point, and I remember this vividly. that I was laying in bed, that I was watching the anime, that I was just sitting there feeling my stomach just against the bed. And I was thinking, damn, if I keep going the way that I'm going, I'm gonna die. I genuinely thought, damn, I'm on the route to becoming morbidly obese. Like, let alone all these dreams that I'm not achieving right now. Like, I'm actually gonna pass away at a young age because of the actions that I'm taking. And from that point, I would love to say that, wow, I just started grinding and I got into it. I watched the videos, I did the research, and I was able to achieve the goals, lose the fat, do everything. And 3 months later, I lost it. I was great. No. I did start trying at that point. I started looking up YouTube videos, watching Jeff Nippert and fitness YouTube. I learned everything I could about how calories work, about macros, about how lifting works, about which exercises are good. I started to consume all of that information, but I took 2 years. It was not an overnight type of thing. I failed for 2 years straight. I would go to the gym. I had this split in my, in my phone that I got from online. I knew the exercises I should do. I started eating like chicken breast and broccoli. Like I would be cooking on the pan in my kitchen with some olive oil, and I'd just be eating that. Except I would go to the gym once. I would have a crazy workout. I would go home and I would eat like 0 calories, like basically just straight chicken breast with barely any sauces or anything. And I felt so sore. I felt so hungry going from eating like tons of pizza and sugar and soda to just chicken breast. Going from 0 workouts in my life to the most intense workout in my life. And from that soreness, from that hunger, I ended up just relapsing back within a few days. And I would be back to binge eating, back to not working out, going maybe once a month. And this pattern repeated for literally years. And in this time period, I was still so insecure, so awkward. I remember being in school and unable to talk to any girls. Like I would be so shaken up and so scared that I barely talked to any woman throughout high school. And even to friends, like my closest friends, I had a great time with. We shared some amazing memories during this time. Yet I still wasn't my full authentic self. And part of the pain of this area, like anxiety aside, all of this pain from not achieving my goals and having to live with that, it was the reality of the situation, which was I wasn't fully being myself. And this is relatively more normal, I feel, for that age. But still, that was the situation because I was so insecure about how I looked, about how I was perceived. I felt like a failure for not achieving my goals. And this went on until I graduated high school. And then 2020 came around, COVID kicked us all out of school. And this point in my journey, when it was March, April of 2020, was so damn beautiful. The catalyst to it, the thing that started it all, was when I was talking to one of my close friends, still my close friend today. And he got waitlisted at a college he was trying to go to. And so we decided to make a music video to send to, I think it was Columbia. We created this full music video. We shot it in like 4 different places. He made all the lyrics and beat and everything. We shot it all and I edited the full video, put it together, and he was so grateful for me. He was just so grateful, and he was like, wow, Sunny, this is like a really well-edited video. You did really good filming all of this too, like all of these things. And he was telling me, like, you could do this. Like, this could be your thing, like making these videos. And I was like, yeah, well, like, it could be, but, if I wasn't so fat, then it maybe. And it was interesting in that moment because I've never really shared my anxiety throughout all of those years. I never told an adult. I never told my friends. I think part of that had to do with the way that my parents would, how they raised me. And they said, don't make your problems other people's problems. If you have things going on for you, like keep them to yourself. Like don't look low status to other people. That is what my parents would really like emphasize to me and my sister growing up. And that just kept me so bottled up. But in that moment, I had like a Freudian slip. I was like, yo, but if I wasn't so fat, then like maybe I could do this. And my friend was like, yo, what? Like, what'd you just say? He was like, if you weren't so fat, like, what do you mean by that? And like that really like stuck out to him. And this friend, like, I will say, like, he's one of the smartest people that I've ever met in my life. And even at that age, when we were still in high school, like, he picked up on that, and he knew that there was something to go deeper on there. And wow, it was so beautiful what happened next, because I just spilled it all out. And I was like, yeah, like every single day throughout the day, like I have this thought in my head thinking about how fucking fat I am, you know, and it's keeping me from pursuing YouTube, from doing the drop shipping business, like what I was doing back then, from, you know, being myself to other people, from getting a girlfriend, from talking to people, like all these things I really want, but I'm so fat, I can't do it. And he told me, he was like, all right, Sunny, let's make a plan for this. Let's solve this for you, because if you can solve this one thing, then the rest of your life, I feel like you'll feel more confident in. And I was like, yeah, no, that does, that you're probably right. And wow, we literally sat down in front of a laptop. This is so, like, I love looking back on this. I haven't thought about this in a while. We sat down at this laptop and he wrote it all out, and he was like, all right, let's write down all your goals. And I was like, all right, I want $1 million. I want this online business. I want a girlfriend. I want this and this and this. And I was like, I also want to be like a low body fat. And he said, okay, let's just focus on that. I want you to wipe out every other goal you have and just focus on that. He was low-key like quoting Essentialism, if you've ever read that book. And that's exactly what I did. COVID kicked us out. I didn't have many school assignments. I didn't have much other obligations. We were just at home. And it was in this time period that I really just was able to have the patience with myself to really start to take the actions consistently towards my goal. And I was able to learn in this period to not be as extreme as I was doing before. And I started intermittent fasting, which is basically not eating breakfast or lunch, or just pushing your fast a bit later in the day. And I started by just fasting for the first couple hours of the day, and then the next day I'd push it a bit more, Eventually I got it down to fasting until 6 p.m. every day and just eating for about 3 hours. And I also started doing push-ups every day. And this all compounded, and I was able to really get into a rhythm with this. And I started to celebrate some of the small wins. I would see the scale go down a bit. And I would get more motivated, and I would keep going. And eventually the gyms opened up again during COVID. And I started going to the gym, and all the push-ups and everything already built me that fitness habit. And from there, I started lifting consistently as well. And I was able to, at the end of about maybe 4 or 5 months, lose 65 pounds. And I was skinny. And I had a jawline. It was so, so beautiful. And that was just the start to my journey. That was 6 years ago. From there, I went to college. From there, I was a CMO of an AI video company. From there, I started a marketing company myself. And then from there, I've come to today. But it's so interesting to see that I was addicted to anime. I was addicted to these animes where the main character had to face their fear and go out on that adventure, whether it was Luffy in One Piece, Ichigo in Bleach, Naruto. All of these different characters that I was so obsessed with watching. They were going and they were pursuing the dream that I had for myself. And it's not as quick as anime or video games. It took me years to get started in this journey, years of failure. But looking back, I can truly say that instead of watching the main character in the anime, I've become the main character of my own life. And so I'll ask you right now, what are your dreams? What do you really want for yourself? What are you scared of? And what actions can you start to take today that will eventually lead you to living your dream life yourself? Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for much more. Peace.